Yo, yogis.
So, y'all, we're going to start in a comfortable seat. If you have a yoga block, that's a great prop for the session. If you have a short foam roller, that serves as kind of a substitute yoga block. And you can squeeze it right between the feet. Or reverse engineer it, put your feet right on the outer edge. Now, just to be clear before we formally start, if you don't have the right props for this seat, or it just doesn't work with your ankles or knees, please just take a simple alternate. Otherwise, supported Virasana. And for about 5 minutes on the clock, make it as simple as you can possibly make it. And simply sit. And as we simply sit, we sit with the body we've got right now. We sit surrounded by the sounds in your room, and the sounds coming from this section of the Marina. Sitting with the sensation of being in a body, being a body. We sit with breathing sensations. We sit with feeling tones that come and go. We sit with distractions from the other room. Notifications from the phone. To-do lists in your mind. We sit and get glimmers of of peace and comfort and tranquility. Through all of it, through the potential inner distractions, outer distractions. Just spend this last minute simply sitting. Last minute here, everybody. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvahaye Tejasve Namitamasu Ma Vidvahavashai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. That's may we be protected. May we be nourished. May our studies be effective. Let there be no animosity amongst us. Peace in you and me and nature, and peace in all the forces. Classically known as essentially the invocation to yoga. I often chant the invocation to Patanjali. That evokes the memory of one of the primary founders, and that chant pretty much just, evokes the practice of yoga itself. Anyway, let's get moving. So please come out of your seat. And we will definitely be getting up, but before we do, let's come to lie on the belly just for a moment. So put yourself in a little bit of a sphinx pose. So you've got some extension in your back, a little bit of an arch. Your hips are pretty much level. This is a great way to soothe some of the nerves in your back, get you out of flexion, get you out of rounding, but not into hyperextension. It's really just a fabulous shape. So you can have the feet about as wide as your mat. You can let the heels spill out, which facilitates more relaxation in your glutes and kind of softens the energy around the sacrum and tail. Now, we do a lot of glute strengthening because it's a fabulous activity for so many reasons, particularly for your low back and directly for your glutes. But it's also, you also want to be able to relax that region when need be. So right now, soft there. gently extend it elsewhere. And then about 10 rounds, connect to belly breathing, so diaphragmatically oriented breath. Still in and out through the nose. And the fact that your belly's pressed down into the ground means you can really feel when your belly attempts to expand out as it hits the ground. And you can also feel, and this is one thing you can really take advantage of, a sense of breathing in your back, right? We're not just a sheet of paper with a front. We have dimension, thickness, and we've got a backside, and there's a backside to the lung tissue. So three main elements coming from this prone shape. The benefit of extension, the feedback from the belly, and the open space in your back and your side to breathe into. Last few rounds. All right. Muy bueno, y'all. Now, let's splay the elbows. Turn the head to one side. You can bring the legs a little closer together. Maybe even put a little contraction in your glutes. Just a little. And then lift up your breastbone and your head. Look into your mat or slightly forward. And then turn your head the other way. And repeat. Let me break this down for a minute. I know a lot of you that have practiced with me IRL, in real life, have done this one before. It's a couple things. You want to just mildly depress the heads of the shoulders as you're doing it. You want to have enough splay to your elbows. You've got space for your head, whether she turns or whether she's centered. And this is a great opportunity to take advantage of 1, 2, 4-part breathing. In that you can breathe in a rectangular sort of like ratio, or even a square. Rectangle's great. So you could inhale for a 5 count, hold for a 2, exhale for a 5 count, hold for a 2. That looks like this. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No breathing 1, 2. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No breathing 1, 2. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No breath 2. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try that a few rounds. If you hate the counting, just flow. But if you want it, it's there for you. Yeah, that feels so good. Last couple rounds, everybody. With or without the breath. Counting. With or without the breath. Hold. But for sure with fluid lifting. Fluid lowering. Center the head as you lift. Turn the head as you lower. Last one. Okay, next we are going to turn the thumbs up, heads up, 7-up styles. External rotation in the head of your shoulders. And this is imperative. Well, I think it is. You can probably get away with it, but ideally you can center your head, forehead down. Here's the deal. Check the screen for a second if you're not sure. With a centered head, you lift one arm, lower. Lift the other arm, lower. So one little caveat, one little coaching cue, when you lift the arm, wrist should be a little higher than elbow. Please try about 10 to 20 on each side. 1 minute only. Lift, lower. Lift, lower. Now it shouldn't feel hurried. And if in doubt, hold a little squeeze at the top. But we're not necessarily going right on breath count. It's not necessarily a long, slow hold. Last couple. It's a surprisingly robust exercise, 8, 10, 12, 15 reps into it. Okie dokie, schmokies. Last one. We're going to rocket ship the arms down along our side within the boundaries of the mat. Let me give or take an inch or two. Maybe get the legs even closer together, closer than they've been thus far. Possibly even a little more squeeze on the glutes this time. Kind of ratcheting from like totally relaxed to medium intensity to more now. Barely lift chest and head, but feel that extension in your back without the arms supporting you. Maybe it's about the height of this Sphinx, but internally supported instead of externally supported. For about a minute. Little beats up and down with your arms. So like a pretty classic old move from Pilates is a move called the hundreds. They often do it lying on the back, belly up, but with this arm movement. And every inhale, you're getting like 5 up and downs. Every exhale, 5 up and downs. 10 rounds of breath. 100 total bounces. About 20 to go. I don't know about you, but it's getting hard. It's been hard. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then finally, everybody, let's release that. Oh. Damn, that is muy bueno right there. Let's come all the way up. So we're going to stand. Man. I know I highlighted it already, but that prone extension stuff is just killer, especially if you've been rounded a lot during the day. Just awesome. Prone means your belly down. Extension obviously it refers to, sometimes it can refer to a neutral back, but in that case it refers to just a slightly back bent back, which we maintained almost that whole time. Okay, so from here everybody, let's take hands to hips or waist and alternate lifting knees. Hope it's nice wherever you are currently practicing this class from. Beautiful 70 degrees here at sunset time. Woo. Let's do a little side to side. This is the plane we don't get a ton of movement on. Moving the hips laterally instead of flexing them up. Just kind of doing one tap, one tap. If I wanted it to be a little more adventurous, I could try to step a little wider. Ooh, that I could feel the rhythm got a little saucy once I got too wide. Could also add upper body and let the arms do a little kind of like push-pull. It's a loose version, but they're basically pulling here, pushing, pulling, pushing, pulling. A few more. And again, this one might feel like it really cooks, even though it doesn't look like a ton, just because once those reps get up into 10, 15, 20, 30, and you're hitting this side plane that we don't get a lot, it can feel pretty strong. Last couple. Okay, let's take both legs out at the same time. Negotiate a wide, stable squat. Maybe let the hips get a little lower. Maybe let the hips go as low as they can. Okay. Come back up to a support and come all the way back up. All right. Let's get a slightly narrower stance, but still at least as wide as your hips or a little wider. Let's get down to a squat. Let's get down a little lower. And let's go down, as the jocks say, ass to grass. Another way to say that is, you just go as low as you can in the squat. This particular squat in yoga is called malasana at this juncture. And you're just back up to the halfway down and then all the way up. Okay? Let's go through that one more time. Feet about as wide as the hips, maybe a little wider. Support with straight arms. 5 big breaths. Breathe into the back of your body. Let the knees go mildly outward. And then sink low enough that your elbows can come onto your thighs instead of your hands. So you've gotten this much lower, the length of your forearms. Your hips lower down a little bit. You can still lean into it and have weight in the pads of your feet, but the hips are going to take a little more than on hands on thighs. And then that final stage, the center of gravity goes almost exclusively down into the hips. There's really nothing for the arms to hold on to. You're down at the bottom of the squat. Back to elbows. Back to hands. Uh-oh. Seagulls are upset.
And back up. Okay. Let's try those 3 squats, and you know, if you need to modify squats for whatever reason for your knees, you can always do so. You can elevate your heels, you could use a wall instead, or you can just modify in your favorite way. Hands behind the head. All right, so same 3 levels. This is basically equivalent to here, but hands free, meaning you got no help. Then down to here, the equivalent to this one. Oh, that's intense. And then lastly, the ass to grass. I know that's a silly term, but it makes sense actually. All the way back up. Whew. All right. Sweet. So we're gonna try that a few times through. You've got a wall to lean into if you need it. You've got the hand elbow support system if you need it. You've got hands behind head if you want it. You could just go all the way down, all the way up, no pause in all 3. Just all the way down to the bottom of the squat, all the way back up, all the way down to the bottom of the squat, all the way back up. Let's try for about 1 minute. You play it how you want to. If you're feeling particularly strong, peppy, you could even jump as you transition. Oh my God. 30 seconds more. "20 seconds more. Last few seconds. Because everybody's on a different rep count, everybody's maybe doing a different style. But if you can go to your full depth of a squat, last one, be at the bottom. Goodness, everybody. And then let's release the hands. Spin around to all 4s. Goodness, that feels so good. Now we're going to come down onto the elbows. Going to bring the forearms together in a singular fist. Bring the knees together so your inner thighs are working. And extend the right leg back. Try to be steadfast with your capacity to remain centered through the midline of your body. And just try about 15 to 20 straight leg lifts, strong squeeze of the inner part of your glute, every maximum lift. I mean, really the squeeze is on the entire time, but you hit that apex and it should be full blast effort. Goodness. Let's switch legs. So you're right up the center with hands, right up the center with knees, right up the center with new leg lifts, and little beats up and down. That's intense. Last couple. and then release that. Next, everybody, we're going to try a little forearm plank. Super solid pose, big surface area of contact plus the tucked under toes. No wrist concerns on this guy. Just dig down deep for core strength. Plant those little metaphorical flags. Shimmy back your feet. 1 minute. If you find it distastefully easy, you could go into the limb lift. You could do a handshake with one arm. You could do the leg lift with one leg. And if you're feeling like you're, want to kick it into beast mode, you do the opposite with each limb. Right? So you'd work right arm and left leg at the same time, or left arm and right leg at the same time. I know this plank pose is hard. Come on, Seagull, I need some help. Okay, I think it's been a minute. Oh my God. It's not a complicated pose, it's just challenging. Okay. We're going to still use the forearm, but we're just going to come onto one side. So I'm on the right side, so I'll cue it that way. Elbow under shoulder, fist out in front of the elbow, so you've got a little 90-degree bend in your arm. You want to feel like your shoulder's just secure and kind of tucked in its socket. And then you want your side muscles to do a lot of the lift. Find an arm that just basically is in line with the bottom upper arm. And if you want a little more, keep your ribs super stable, squeeze the butt a little, and lift and lower this arm. So the idea is when you reach her forward, it destabilizes your trunk, so you've got to hold on a little more. Plus it's kind of nice for your shoulder. 2 more. Last one. New side. Only one side plank. So make it good. Lift. Reach. Use those side muscles so your trunk holds you here. Your elbow's just kind of like a little kickstand, but the frame of the bike is kind of what's really strong. So the frame of your torso, it's what's really strong here. You're not just hanging on your elbow. Last one. Oh, man. Let's come up to a seat. Let's lift into an inverted table, belly up table. So here, the sagging in your wagon is probably right there, right? So that's where you want extra reinforcement. So there is no sagging in your wagon at all. And then down you come. Now, if you find that unpalatable on your wrist, but everything else is game, you could go onto your forearms, or you just go back and do a bridge. Otherwise, if your shoulders are game, power it with your hips. Drive down with your feet. Squeeze up with full contraction in your glutes. Level the chest and the head. And if this feels like just, like you really want a progression, reach a leg forward. Same exact progression as belly down. Maybe reach an arm forward. I'm not ready for that. And then down you come. That's Purvottanasana. Stretching the front of the body. Okay, last one. Up you come. Remember, you can be doing bridge or forearm or this guy. Now, if you want a little bonus, think I'm ready on this round, you could reach an arm at a diagonal, like across the opposite shoulder. And at a diagonal, across the opposite shoulder. So my right hand is now off to the left side of my mat. And here my left arm's now off to the right side of the mat. Uno más. Oh, man. And then please come down onto your bottom. Roll all the way down onto your backside. Take the right leg on top, eye of the needle, and then let your legs fall to the left, such that right foot is planted on the ground.
What is he doing?
Some of you, the right shoulder may have lifted. Some of you, the right shoulder can stay down. 10 breaths. Same right leg, the one that's on top, crossed, stays on top. You come back to center. Same right leg that's on top, stays on top, but you twist the opposite direction until the right knee touches down, which may again force, like it does on my body, the left shoulder to lift, or you might have the capacity for her to release to the ground. There, I just found it. It's always really close in this one. 10 breaths. There were dolphins spotted just last week in this part of the Marina, so just hoping maybe they'd manifest themselves tonight for yoga. Anyway, same leg on top, y'all. Come back to center. Same leg, and then hug the legs toward your chest. Now this is the last part of a four-parter. Same leg on top, but just straighten that underneath leg. Last 10 breaths.
Okay. Please release, briefly reset. So that's a 4-parter, 2 twists, 1 each way, 2 hip stretches, 1 leaning into the hamstring, 1 just leaning into the hip. So, new leg on top, left one. Leg pile falls to the left till the foot touches down. Sorry, falls to the right. Sorry, make sure we're together. Falls to the right. That left shoulder and left arm go back at a little diagonal. Feed the side of your body with conscious breathing. If you have a little less twist and rotation capacity than this, your shoulder might be slightly lifted. Feels so good. It's such a great little sequence here. Same leg on top, as you guys know, for 3 more whole moves. Gently steer back to the center. Same leg on top, just tip her the other way. Now on this one, you let that right shoulder, oh my goodness, that feels good, spill out and open. And she may hit the floor immediately. She might not hit the floor the whole 10 breaths. She might gradually sink. Oh. As you know, same leg on top. Come back to center. I have the needle, like a pigeon pose. You guessed it, same leg on top. Last 10 breaths. Free the bent lever leg underneath until you get some nice response to her. So for me, this pose actually really lights up pretty much the entire lower body. I still get all the stretch from this upper outer hip on the bent side. And this feeds the foot, the calf, the hamstring, the entire back of the straight leg. Okay, everybody. From here, please come down and rest, and we're going to go into Shavasana. I just need a quick little water break. So I think, well, you know, there are different approaches to it. I think in the end, Shavasana is probably more an attitudinal process and calm, settled body. And it's traditionally done, as of course you all know, just lying flat on the ground. But I don't think you violate any of the, you know, the essence of Shavasana if you decide to do it with your knees bent instead of your legs straight, if that feels better for your hips. Or your legs up a wall, if that doesn't like constantly feel like a stretch, because you want to be able to relax. Or your calves on a chair. Or even, might not work for your breathing for 6 minutes, but it might be perfect, and we've done it already for longer than that, so it could be great for you. Belly down. I know sometimes lots of options is kind of confusing, and you want to limit the options. So if there's any doubt, stick with the traditional Shavasana. And if you know already that one of those other ones suits you far better, just adopt it. And we're gonna exit this practice. I mean, we'll come out of it formally, don't worry. But just to stick with the metaphor for a second, we're gonna exit this practice kind of like the way we went into it. We just sat, and for these final 5 minutes, we'll just lay down. Perhaps at this point in our practice, and in our experience doing yoga regularly, when you just lie down at this point, you might switch gears in an instant. There could feel to you like just an immediate shift into Shavasana mode. Others still, it might feel gradual, and then you sort of sink in. Others still, there might be constant fidgeting or competition for your consciousness. However it manifests, 4 more minutes. Let's just let it be. Just begin to reconnect to your soundscape. A lot of layers of sound coming at you. Ambient noises in your room and ambient noises outside your room and outside your house. My voice, ambient noises in my environment here. The sound of your own body moving or breathing. And then find your way via rocking or rolling. Rocking your way up or rolling off to one side. And then let's come to a simple seat. Sukhasana. And let's close by just connecting to a few comfortable, slow, deep breaths. There's a chance you've got somebody there in your room you're practicing with. Most of us are probably practicing solo in our immediate environment. But we're connected right now. There's a little sangha, there's a little group. All of us that are like on right now live. So just send a little thanks out to everybody else. And I thank you all for being here. Namaste.